America is facing a seismic shift, and to get the stories behind the noise, the media sound bites, social media, and big data, we spoke with a cross-section of Americans in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement.
Based on what we heard, if we're to unite this nation, we're going to need to foster change from the bottom up, together. No one is coming to save us.
In this segment, we just wanted to let people vent, and they had a lot to say.
Do you think there's a divide in this country? Are we divided?
Are you serious? Like, I don't even know how I would answer the question. Like, can you just tell me how possibly there isn't a divide? I think there's a huge divide. Are you okay with the way things are? I think that's the divide. I mean, yes, there's racial divide and there's gender divide. I mean, there's lots of divides, but I think the fundamental divide are the people who are okay with those divides and there are people who aren't okay with those divides. Like, how is it that we're okay with 1 out of 5 children not having food? Are you willing to wake up and see the way things are? And when you do see things, do you take personal responsibility for it? Do you not blame the person on the other side?
And we look to politicians to lead us out of the dark, but we're frustrated with the way in which they lead.
The reason I did vote for him is I bought into the rhetoric of having a businessman in place in the government. And I thought, you know what? People who work in government, who have been in, for 20, 30, 40 years, they have been pandering to the same people year after year after year. They're getting kickbacks and all that kind of stuff. And quite honestly, Hillary Clinton, for whatever reason, that woman just grated on my last nerve. I personally couldn't deal with her. And that was the other reason. For me, it was this is how it's going to be. And I truly thought it was going to work out. I have the book, Bob Woodward, I think, wrote it. And the things that he's done since before he was in office until 2 or 3 years into his presidency, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I mean, you're talking about a journalist who's been around for many years, and he's been exemplified for many books that he's written over the years. And he did so much study and research and interviews. So I believe what I read in that book.
And I think the Democrats would go to extremes for Trump to not win. Mm-hmm. But I do think he will win. And honestly, I believe God brought Trump here for this purpose, to stand up and make this country right, because other countries was taking advantage of us. He doesn't back down from somebody. If he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. He's no bullshitter. Oh, some people, they just don't like him. Didn't like him before. Mm-hmm. But I have heard some black people that didn't vote for him before is going to vote for him this year, because he has made America better. He's the best president we've probably ever had, and actually they're scared of him. Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I trust top Democrats either. I mean, I'm definitely Democratic, but I feel like our government is so far removed from the people who they are supposed to represent that they just have no idea. And on one hand, I would say that our values align democratically for the most part, but the behavior of and the strategies, I guess, maybe of some of the top Democrats is almost just as deplorable as Trump.
I don't think we're the only ones to not trust the government. I think there's huge protests and huge things that are saying you guys are not doing the right job right now, right? Because they don't trust what's happening and they don't feel confident in their leadership or acknowledgement of problems. I think that's another word, acknowledgement, right?
Universally, people we spoke with see the root of our problem as materialism.
If I look at it from a rational point of view, I can say it just slowed everything down and said, whoa, wait a minute. And for those 8 weeks or however long people were at home, they got a chance to sort of say, wow, maybe I have been a little selfish. I think we were on that path where everybody was about, I'm going to make as much money as I can and screw the other person because I've got to get mine.
It kind of still shows that we value money over people. Like they care more about, their property and their finances than they do of certain people's lives.
The mentality of this country has gone down the toilet bad. Greedy, selfish, not my fault. Instead of developing and working on becoming better people, whether it's a better humanity, more involved in the community or help, whatever, it's like it's gone in reverse. Everybody wants money and wants more of it. Seems like honesty and ethics aren't even common anymore. Those that are wealthier, it affects less because they got whatever they need. They don't have to worry about it. Whereas the person that is poor is going to fight for it more to try and get ahead.
All of the challenges we face are giving us a chance to rethink the dynamics of power.
We're so flooded by our emotions all the time that we are a culture in fight or flight, freeze or please, right? So if you have power, you get to fight or flight. If you're powerless, you freeze, and then you accommodate. We need to be rugged individuals right now. We need to be strong. We need to be empowered. But nowhere in that contract is that we get to have power over people. We want everyone to be rugged right now. Like, that's the worst thing a psychologist could say, right? Because I'm supposed to be empathic and stuff. But sometimes you got to just have grit and really, stand up for what's right. To know what's right is not that hard.
This collective shift is about whether or not we're going to honestly take a moment and reevaluate how we are abusing authority and power, and how we have a chance now to rewrite the script. Power, from a spiritual perspective, is not about lording over someone. Power is this ability to show up and express who you uniquely are in order to support the whole. And we certainly do not see that expression of power in the places that they should be, right? So now we've defined power for so long as this desire for personal gratification at the expense of others and their rights and their voice and their personal power. And so this is what we have an opportunity to re-examine. Will we be successful? I don't know, but that is what I'm holding space for. And it's not, the people in power that are solely responsible for how they act. That's what the protest is all about. We have to keep people in check. This is what the Me Too movement is about. We have to hold people accountable for their misuse of power. Power is the channel for freedom, right?